Welcome everybody to the A Little Less Fear podcast. I'm your host for the show, Dr. Lino Martinez. Oh yeah. Welcome everybody to the A Little Less Fear podcast. Today I'm really excited to introduce the screenwriter Joe Burke. He is from Leeds, north of England, Yorkshire. Welcome, Mr.
Hello,
Joe
everyone.
Burke. Thank you so much. What time is it over
No
there?
problem. It is just after 7.
After 7 p.m. and it's 11 a.m. over here in Pasadena, California. And what's the weather like over there?
Today's good, actually. It's really warm. Let me just our version of warm.
Yeah, what's your version of warm? Yeah, because today we're hitting 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay. So I'm not sure what this is in Fahrenheit, but it's 18 degrees Celsius.
Oh my goodness, I'd have to Google that. I don't know.
Let me
Google
ask Siri.
Yeah, Siri.
18 degrees C in Fahrenheit. So this is a hot day, is 64 degrees Fahrenheit. And people are like, we'll go for a beer outside. It's really hot.
20. Yeah, it must be very, very hot over here for you. Well, welcome very much to this podcast. I'm really, really happy and excited to interview you here. As you're actually the first writer I interview. I'm a writer myself. My first book, my first autobiography actually, and I'm probably going to write more books because I love writing, is coming out in a couple months, and it's called A Little Less Fear. And I think that topic is very, very well intended for people who want to talk about their lives with a little less fear. So I'm excited to ask you, how did your writing journey begin?
So I guess I've always been a writer ever since I was a kid, purely because it's a joke within our family, but it's really difficult to get me to shut up. And it's kind of like, but as I get older, I realize that it's just, I really love telling stories, and it's just that kind of that need to entertain or kind of just bring joy to people's lives. I guess like my fiance says that she loves me most because I'm really funny, apparently. I think only to her, but that's fine. But because I just like, I will take every opportunity to make someone laugh or like just kind of influence their life in some way. So it's all, ever since I was a kid, I've been a performer or just anything creative. Like I'll draw anything that kind of, that just gives me that little bit of joy, or gives someone else that little bit of joy as well.
So would you say that you were born with this natural inclination to want to entertain and to want to write?
Absolutely. Like if I ever become like quote unquote famous, and they have in the UK, I'm not sure if you've got something similar in the US, but there was a TV show when I was a kid called This Is Your Life.
Yeah, I've heard of This Is Your Life.
Yeah, so they kind of get family members and go through their entire life and show home videos from when they were a kid. I would be like so embarrassed because there's so many home videos of me singing in like tiny vest tops when I was like 4 or 5.
That's so awesome. It was
just like, or performing plays in front of the entire family. So there's just always been that kind of need to, and I guess you could see it in a negative way, that it's trying to, like, an attention seeker, which I guess I thought when I was a teenager, but actually as I grow up, I kind of think, no, it's just that you want to make people laugh, or you want to make people smile.
Absolutely. So what can you tell the world about what you have learned so far as a writer?
Oh, I don't think we've got enough time for
You're right. Yeah, I hear you on that one.
From a lot of kind of trials and tribulations and learning from mistakes, I think that the thing that I've learned most is to not be afraid of help. That when I came out of university, I did my BA is in drama, And then I created a theatre company called Pride Arts that do LGBTQ plus theatre. We've only done one play, one or two plays, but the first one was 5 monologues of people coming out.
Wow.
3 were real stories of friends or family that I directed, that were their real stories in their words. I didn't change a single word. They just sent me the story of them coming out, and then someone else performed their role. And I wrote 2 stories kind of simultaneously. But because it was the first thing that I wrote and the first thing that I'd kind of done outside of university, it was just that need to prove myself and go, well, I need to be a superhero and do everything. And the problem is that balls get dropped, and it wasn't as good as it could have been if I'd have just said, look, I need some help. And for like, I was trying to be producer, writer, director.
Oh, wow, that's so much.
I ended up starring in it because one of the guys unfortunately left 2 weeks before
Oof.
the actual show, and I said, well,
Pressure,
I wrote
pressure.
it, so I know I don't have to learn the lines because I wrote it. So I just had to kind of do everything. And looking back now, that's the biggest thing that I learned, is just go, you don't have to, like, you can still show your worth as part of a team and working with people.
Exactly.
You don't have to do everything.
Yes.
Because otherwise you just burn out. It's
Yeah.
like it was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a really, really, really important lesson. I think that especially a lot of us that are go-getters like this, is we think that we can handle everything, because when we first started, we have all these ideas and they're popping up, and we feel that they're all reachable and that we can align it and make it look a specific way, but we can still do that if we work together as a team. And yeah, burning out can leave a bitter taste in your mouth, and good thing that it didn't leave a bitter taste in your mouth, because you're still writing.
No, definitely. It kind of spurred me on, actually, to go, okay, so this is the level, because it still got good reviews, and it did what I kind of wanted it to do. That it's okay, I can hit this level doing it on my own. Imagine what I could do if I did it properly and did it with friends, and like I've got
right, exactly.
network. So I mean, I'm excited to see what the future holds.
What do you enjoy the most about writing?
The spark, because there's always, you have to put, like, the thing with writing is you have to put in the groundwork. There's the days where you don't want to write, and you just have to do it. And it's similar to kind of fitness and things like that, where you're not going to be motivated all the time, and there's days where you just kind of have to do it anyway. But there's always that spark where a problem kind of, you work out how to overcome it, or especially with kind of screenwriting and things like that, there's always going to be, oh well, but that doesn't make sense, or a problem that you've got to overcome. And when you realize, it's just that kind of, it is like a light bulb over your head sort of thing, and you go, aha. And it's that moment that you go, okay, this is great. Or you kind of, because maybe a lot of the stuff that I've written will never get made or never get kind of published. And part of our course, one of the questions was, is a script that never gets made a piece of art in and of itself? And there were all of my colleagues that were like, or fellow students that were like, no, it's a blueprint of a film. If it doesn't get into a film, then it doesn't matter. And I was like, no, because otherwise just reading it wouldn't be enough. And there's so many actors that say, I read this script and I had to do it, because the script in and of itself is a work of art.
It sure is.
I'm happy that even if there might be pieces that are never read, but to me they're still a valid piece of art, even if only I enjoy it. that's still worth it.
So what gives you passion? You know, some people need 20 cups of coffee or tea, or some people need to exercise first, or some people need to meditate first. What gets you in the zone?
Tea, as a British person, is
Yeah, what kind of tea?
Yorkshire tea. That Yorkshire tea is the only tea that I will drink. It is a very
How many
specific.
cups, Joe?
On a good day, 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But you kind of, but it's like, it depends on how you have your tea. That it's important when you come to the UK that you can get a chart of the color of all of the different kinds of tea. So depending on how much milk you put in it, and some people will disregard your love of tea if you don't have it the way that they have it. We're a very what's the word? Unforgiving kind of culture, I guess. Similar to how it's off topic, but I need to know with the US. So you know, if you had like a bread roll, do you have specific names for that, or is it just a bread roll? Or will it be different wherever you come from, that you call it something different?
I think it's different wherever you come from, and it's different whatever type of bread you're having. Because I have to call over here. We call it by its specific name.
Yeah. Whereas we have a bread roll. Anywhere in the country, we'll call it something different.
Right.
And it's very, like, it's incredible how angry people can get. Because where I come from, it's called a tea cake.
Tea cake, huh?
Which sounds crazy when you look at it as an independent word. But ever since I was born, it's a tea cake. But some people call it a cob. Some people call it a muffin. Some people and it's just, I don't know if and you can show them, and it's not a type of bread. Everyone can look at the same piece of bread and they will call it something different.
So in order for you to get into the zone, you need to have your piece of bread, your muffin, your tea cake. You need to have your tea specific way, and then you get in the zone. Do you listen to music? Do you?
Yeah. I listen to, like, YouTube has a great relaxing live piano kind of thing that I listen to, because otherwise I get kind of into the same music all the time, and then it becomes a little monotonous because you're hearing it all the time. Right. Whereas you can put it on no matter what, and it's just a 24 hours constant looping thing. So it's always something kind of in the background. I did try and listen to kind of normal music before, but if it's got words, because I love music as well. Like, I play several instruments.
Oh, that's so awesome.
I love.
I play guitar. Holla to the guitar. Do you play the guitar?
Yeah. I play guitar, bass, drums, piano.
Oh, heck yeah.
Sing a little. That's what I mean. Like, anything creative, I'll just try. I'm not very good at all of them. It's a jack of all trades, master of none. But if I listen to music that I love, I end up just focusing on the music and I don't write. So I need some, but if it's silent, then I struggle as well. So I like to have something in the background to kind of keep me going. Yeah,
I kind of feel the same way. I have to have something in the background. I usually light candles when I write as well. I feel that aromatherapy, smelling something nice, kind of helps me as well. Grounds me a little bit as well.
Yeah, fairy lights that we have.
Yeah, I love those fairy lights. I love those lights.
Yeah, like I'm lucky enough that I got a bursary from my university, so I was able to decorate my my stepson's toy room into an office.
Oh, nice.
Fairy lights everywhere, and so you might see here it's a part of a set that is on the wall. So you know George Orwell's Animal Farm. I directed Animal Farm, and the cast signed part of the set in chalk.
That's what that is.
So I've hung it on the wall. But yeah, so it's really important to have that kind of space, but especially because with COVID at the minute, I'm working from home.
And that's kind of almost half the world right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, I'm really lucky to be working from home because it means I've not lost my job, and a lot of people have not been that lucky. But I have an office downstairs that
Oh,
is my
great.
work kind of office, and then this is my kind of creative office where it's separate because otherwise I'd struggle to, if I have a bad day at work, I don't want to bring that into my writing
Sure.
space. That it's important
I
to have
agree. Because then it
that
definitely
balance.
shows in your writing, and it just changes the whole rhythm that you're in.
Yeah, and this is like my den that I can kind of escape because my stepson is 13, so that age where and he's autistic as well.
The
Um,
curious age, huh?
yeah, and loud with his friends and things, so I can kind of I can disappear off up to the office if it's getting a bit loud downstairs.
So what kind of writing are you working on right now?
Currently, I'm working on a horror short film that's based on, and I've not actually spoken publicly about this, so this will technically be an exclusive.
Okay.
So I'm working
Thank
on a
you.
horror short that's based in lockdown in the UK
Oh, wow.
during COVID, and it's essentially that the basic premise is that do you guys know of a Couch to 5K? So it's like an app that we have here to get people running, and they say you can have never run before, and then they'll get you to 5 kilometers running in 9 weeks. And they
Wow.
kind of just, it's like an app that you can get and you just run along with it.
I
And
need that.
it's a really great kind of thing, but it's, my fiance was doing it and it gave me an idea of like, well, what if like, and she was running late at night once, and I was a bit uncomfortable about it and was like, what if kind of something like someone chases you or something. So essentially it's a she's being haunted by a figure that is has like a skull mask, and she feels that it is her mum passes away from COVID, and she feels that it is her mum kind of getting in touch with her from the other side, but not everything is quite as it seems.
Hmm.
But that's what I'm kind of working on as part of my university course, my MA, which is really cool because we look at not just the script, but like treatments and an outline and writer's statements and things. And it's really important to like, we have to do 1,000 word essay as a reflective essay to reflect on how the process has kind of changed the way that we write. And actually, because I've never done anything like this, just that process in and of itself has been invaluable to my writing, because you're not just looking at, oh, how do I improve? You're
Hmm.
looking at the process and say, okay, could I improve the way that I write? Could I improve the way ideas come? Because I used to just like, I can't believe that I used to never write a second draft. I would just kind of write something and then that would be it and we'd perform it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, going through the treatment phase and everything like that, that it's just changed how I write completely. It means that now future I'm able to reflect on stuff, um, and that way you're always kind of looking at getting better, no matter what level I reach. If I'm able to become a professional screenwriter and do it as a job, it means that I can still look reflectively on how I can improve no matter what level I get.
That's awesome. That's fascinating. You're inspiring me just listening, because also as a writer, I feel that sometimes I just stick to what I know and what comes natural because it's easiest for me. But also pushing yourself to think differently and think more creatively and outside of your usual box will make you a better writer and help you reach a wider audience as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like you have to push that box because otherwise you will only just stay stagnant. And I think
Right.
I never I've never thought of doing a horror until this module where I thought, well, if I'm gonna do it, this is the place to start learning, because like I thought, oh well, drama I can just kind of it's not that it's easy, but for me,
Mhm.
that was what my wheelhouse was, because I know how to make something intense or something emotional.
Right.
Where I thought, if it's a horror and it's not scary,
Mhm.
people know. Like, you can't fake that. That it's like,
Right.
and as I said,
That's
I'd
true. You
never write.
cannot.
Yeah, I said I'd never write a comedy play, because if you're sat in an audience for a drama and it's silent, that's fine. They might just be really kind of intensely listening to what the story is. If it's a comedy and it's silent, you know that it's bad. So I was
Yeah,
like, just, you have to push that envelope, because otherwise you will never improve.
exactly. So speaking of improving, what are your goals moving forward as a writer?
Um, like I said, I'd love to be a professional writer, but because I've only just started my MA. I started it in January this year. My focus is,
Congratulations. It's going to move very fast. Very
yeah,
fast.
like I'm already at the end of my first module, and I'm like, oh wow.
Yeah, that went fast, huh?
Yeah, it's a couple of years. We get to kind of, we work with people all over the world, because it's an online MA. Anybody in the world can do it, and so we work with. There's a guy that lives in Canada and things like that. So it's interesting collaborating with different people. So I'm mainly focusing on, not that a grade is the most important thing, but I'd like to get a good grade. Focusing on that, and then after that, I'm gonna look to get an agent, or see what I can do. Potentially throughout the course, I'm gonna apply to some kind of competitions. There's a load of screenwriting competitions. There's one that's based in the US that I'm looking at submitting, because I've got a feature film that's about a cult leader that's, I don't want to ruin anything. A cult leader that has a car crash,
Okay.
and is affected by a memory issue,
Oh, wow.
and
Okay.
that may, yeah, I don't know how to kind of word it without giving the game away,
Sure, that's okay.
um, but yeah, so I'm applying um, to some competitions, and because you get feedback, and I think the most important thing for me is, when I was younger, I would always be looking at, partly what's got me here is because I'm always pushing for the next thing,
Hmm.
and as I get older, I need to realize that I need to enjoy the now, rather than
Absolutely.
looking at, all right, well, I want to be a professional screenwriter. Okay, but you're currently on a master's of screenwriting, so enjoy that, and then, but still building towards something. But I think my problem when I was younger was, I'd always look at the next thing, that I'd never fully appreciate what I was enjoy the
Enjoying the
most.
journey. It's very,
Yeah,
really, really important to enjoy the journey.
exactly.
Sometimes the journey is the career itself. I'm coming to find out.
Mm. Yeah, because, and especially like when you listen to people like Aaron Sorkin, and the people that are that the behemoths of screenwriting, they're still learning.
Hmm.
So like, that there is no end point. Like,
Right.
when you think about it, there is only the journey, because you never finish it. So there's no point in kind of trying to get there, because it doesn't exist. You can
Exactly.
only push forward and do, and enjoy that.
Joe, what can you tell other writers that are struggling to write? I notice sometimes on Twitter, on the Twitter feed or on IG, I see some people saying writer's block. And I feel like sometimes I want to give in my 2 cents and give in my opinion, but sometimes I feel that the writer's block is needed. Like sometimes you need that break. Sometimes a writer block, I feel, is your mind telling you, hang on a minute, let me unscramble everything. And sometimes you need a nap. Sometimes you need a rest. But what
Absolutely.
can you tell people who are experiencing writer's block?
I was discussing this on Twitter actually the other
Oh,
day.
okay.
that somebody said, because the bad thing about writing, and especially with the current social media as it is there's a lot of bad advice out there, because anybody can just put some advice out. And again, anything that I've said, if anybody disagrees with it, then that's fine. It's just advice, and you need to filter that through your own self and your experiences to see if that is valid for you.
Exactly.
And some people, especially new writers, because they're just looking for guidance and looking for somebody to tell them what to do, because they know what they want but not necessarily how to do it. Somebody once said that to be a writer you have to write every day. Now I think that is absolute nonsense.
Yeah,
Because
right.
like, I think, but I tweak it, that instead I would say I don't write every day. Even as an MA, I don't write every day. I think about stuff every day. I might watch something, but if I watch, especially if you're a screenwriter, my fiance hates it because I say, oh, I've got to go do some work now, and she goes, "You're just going to go watch a film, aren't you?" And I'm like, "Yes, but that is work.
That is work. It's brewing. It's brewing in your mind."
Yeah, and as long as if you're on Instagram and there's something on the telly, then that's not the same. Like, you have to be consciously engaging with whatever media it is, whether you're reading through poetry or whether you're reading a book. Like, people that read, take stuff in, because look at stuff that you aspire to, because then that's gonna, like, especially with writing, you're bringing in your own experiences, and if you don't experience anything, then you don't have a well of information to go against.
Exactly.
I think the main reason that I have any kind of ability to screenwrite is because of the vast amount of films that I've watched. And realistically, all films are just regurgitations of other films, because we're just kind of doing what we've seen. And the same with any art form. So I think the main thing would be, if you don't feel like writing, then don't write.
Exactly.
You do something else. Do something else that's going to go for a walk. Like everything can inform your writing, because when you go out, you might see someone that's acting a certain way, and that will trigger something that people that just stare at a blank page, it's not going to come.
Right.
So just go out in the world and find something to be able to write about. But yeah, it frustrates me, because I think there's a lot of people that will really struggle with that. And I just think it's such a shame, because they've been told, oh, they need to write every day, so therefore they have to sit and it has to be a struggle. And it's like, no, it's meant to be enjoyable, and you're turning it into like a chore, and it's like,
right,
it's not good for you to do that.
That's excellent advice. I definitely agree with that, because creativity has to be a flow. You can't push it. It has to come out naturally. In order for it to come out naturally, you need to let yourself be more flexible.
Have flexible. For anything to come out, you've got to let stuff in.
Yes.
The way I see it is that,
absolutely.
Like, so any experience, if you're dealing with it in a mindful way, that you're conscious about what you're doing, that if you're just walking around and not really paying attention, but if you're paying attention to the world, you can go to a coffee shop and sit in a coffee shop for an hour, and you will find, like, and especially where I live, there are some characters here, I tell you.
I love people watching.
Yeah, but it's like you found and it's just that people say, oh, well, I haven't got any experience, I haven't found any inspiration. Well, have you been listening? Have you been looking for inspiration? Like it's Zeus that's on a cloud that's just gonna hit you. Like, right. No, you've got to put yourself in that position.
It's been awesome interviewing you. I can't believe our time's up already. I feel like I can continue to talk about this forever. It's really, really incredible talking to another writer. I feel like we understand each other wholeheartedly.
Yeah,
Thank you so
definitely.
much for your time. What's your Twitter?
Cool.
Go ahead and tell our audience how we can follow you.
My Twitter is, I can't remember. Let me find it.
Sure.
It's strange because I put it as when I get married, I'll be a Kirkwood, so I've changed it for that already. So it's at KirkwoodJoe89 is my Twitter. If you just search Joseph Burke, then that's me. I'm also available on a podcast that we've just started called Clapperboard Climax, which is at Board Climax. So the first episode is just aired on Sunday, where we talk about, it's me and a few screenwriter friends from university, where we talk about films basically. So Sunday was Back to the Future.
What's the name of the podcast you said again?
It's called Clapperboard Climax.
Clap Aboard Climax.
So Clapperboard, see it, Clapperboard.
Oh, Clapperboard. Got it.
Yeah, it's my accent, sorry.
No
Clapperboard Climax. So we're doing our top 30. So each of our top 10s, and then interspersed with some of the worst films ever made. So next.
And how can we tune into that podcast? Where
it's available on Spotify, Anchor. Eventually it'll be on Apple, but I think it takes a little bit of time to get through to Apple. But it's definitely available on Spotify at the minute. There's a new episode every Sunday.
A new episode every Sunday. I can't wait to tune in. Thank you so much for your time, Joe. Anything else you want to add to the world? What can you tell the world to inspire them to keep writing and keep their creative juices flowing?
I think for me, if I didn't write, I don't know if I'd still be here. I think the world at the minute is absolutely crazy. Even without COVID, like, people are going through so much stuff. So if you can hold the demons at bay, even for just a little bit for you, then it's worth it. So if you've got something to say, it doesn't matter if you can say it well, just say it. The world needs to hear it.
I love that. Just say it. The world needs to hear it. Those are wise words from Joe Burke, tuning in from Leeds, north of England, Yorkshire. Thank you so much. Also, feel free to tune into his new podcast, Clapperboard Climax Podcast. That's available on Spotify. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into A Little Less for Your podcast. Joe, I look forward to chatting with you again, and hopefully when I get to travel, we'll get to meet up in person.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you so much. You have a wonderful day now.
You too.
Thank you. Bye-bye.